Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the unceded and traditional territories of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish Coast Salish peoples. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Lorenzo Iameo. I am the mini school coordinator for Sir Charles Tupper Secondary, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what the Tupper Mini School program is about and how to apply, and hopefully answer most of the questions you may have regarding our program. The first thing I want to address about the Tupper Mini School is who should apply. So students who should be looking to apply to the Tupper Mini School are students that are interested in learning, that have a few interests, kids who generally do well academically or are academically motivated, willing to work hard, kids that are interested in working in a team. You're going to be with these people for 5 years, so it's important that you are prepared to work within a team and make those relationships work, because after all it is 5 years and they do become part of your family. And then the other thing I wanted to mention briefly is just travel. If you live within the Tupper catchment and you apply to the Tupper Mini School, that's a bonus. If you're out of catchment, of course, it's a district program, anybody can apply, but I do recommend that you do consider how far you're going to travel and what it is that you're going to gain from that amount of travel. It's 5 years. So you gotta make sure that you are committed and understand exactly what you're getting yourself into. It's exciting to apply to things and dream about it, but when it becomes a reality, how will you react? And that is what I invite you to do, is at least consider what your next 5 years will look like by your travel. The next thing I wanted to talk about is very briefly that we are a 5-year program, and that means that the English goes right up until grade 12, the social studies up until grade 11, and the math and science until grade 9, and then when you get into grade 10, different things happen, and I will let the individual teachers who are also on this video talk about their individual programs. But the one thing I do want to talk about is the humanities, and with humanities we bring the English and the socials together. Now obviously we are in a different time with COVID, but during normal times the students have English and social studies together with one teacher. They see that teacher every single day, and once again it's just an opportunity for us to build a strong community. With the mini school, the kids don't only get humanities in grade 8 like the rest of the population, they also get humanities 9 like nobody else. So that's another advantage, I think, to building the cohort, building that sense of team, and I'll talk more about that later. What is the point of having accelerated math and accelerated science? So with regard to the acceleration, the idea is to create an opportunity for students to take more electives before they graduate. And while it seems that more students are leaning towards taking math and science courses in their senior years, not everybody is doing that. Other students, for example, are taking other electives, whether it's in visual arts or in the humanities. And the idea is that we're able to give kids other opportunities. And so when I was talking earlier about students having passions or being excited about something, there is an opportunity on an individual basis for students who are truly driven and independent learners to create what we call an independent directed study. Now we don't promote that as a program for everybody or something for everybody, but for students who do have an ability to work independently and have some passions, we can create a course for them with a sponsor teacher that allows them to pursue that passion independently, and they set goals and timelines, and it's quite an amazing thing for those who do qualify for it. And in some cases we do have students that graduate early. It is not super common, but it is something that is a possibility. All right, so enriched humanities. So during pre-COVID times, and hopefully we'll get closer to that at some point, we do have a number of things that we're able to do. So of course we still do project and inquiry-based learning. This, what we're doing right now, is a project within the mini school, and Haida has taken this one on. We also have, again, like an IDS where we focus on students' talents. they can do that. But also within our program and the teachers and the cohort of teachers that we have, we talk about projects and initiatives that kids can be involved with that sort of focus on their own talents. And I'll talk more about this, what you're able to give and what you want to receive from the program later on in this presentation. Opportunities for cross-curricular collaboration. So if you're working on a World War I unit, we might take some literature from that was created during the wars or about the wars. And that's something that is up to the individual teachers. And of course, live performances and field studies. Well, all of that is on hold at the moment. But Bard on the Beach and some other live performances that we go to is something that we do strive for. And if COVID continues, which in the foreseeable future, it looks like we're there, with Mini Council, we will talk about ways to enrich kids' lives with performances, even though we can't physically take people to these performances, which, by the way, aren't even running right now. All right, next slide. All right, so I'd say one of the more important and cornerstone pieces to Tupper Mini School is the leadership that is provided. Mini Council is like a student council, only it's within the Mini School. And all the way down to all the camps that we organize, plus our mentorship conference. There's a number of things that they would be involved with. So everything on the website is student run. And we basically have students organizing and planning, and again, it's based on their interests. So students who are interested in the web portion of things, they will do that. Kids are interested in video editing, is an example again, Haida, who's recording this right now. People will get involved with things that they are comfortable with. Mentorship. We are very proud of the fact that we focus on mentorship. It is something that we try to accomplish for students every single year, where we link students' interests with somebody in the field, and the idea is that we connect them, even in a very minor way, to somebody so that when they get to grade 11 and grade 12 and are taking courses, preparing themselves for university, that they actually have a better understanding of what courses to take, and they can talk to people about their path getting to those places. And then interviews, we haven't fully organized how our interviews are going to run this year, but interviews is also another part where the junior grades especially get involved to welcome the grade 7s and have an interview with them, ask them questions, and help them to feel comfortable. And I think that one of the things that, again, with this leadership is that we lead by example, and we want the kids to all support one another. So when the grade 7s come in, we want them to know that we're not here to be scary. We're here to bring them in and get the best out of them. And likewise, some of our junior kids get role models in our older kids, and they're able to learn from those experiences as well. All right, we're gonna go to the next slide. All right, so when we are not in this crazy state that we're in today, kids typically want to be involved in socializing, and those extracurricular things may involve debate team, the World Scholars Club, Cup, and also get involved in some community volunteering opportunities. We will see where that takes us this year, but that is one of the focus points for Tupper Mini School. All right. Well, if you're coming to Tupper in the mini school program or otherwise, there are a number of things that you should be aware of in terms of our clubs and our sports. Again, it's a different year, so how clubs are working this year is basically within a remote type of a setting, and sports obviously are, most of the sports are on hold as well, but when we're fully functioning and up and running, we have a huge variety of things for students to be involved in, regardless of your interest. So, and again, I would argue that one of the things that we focus on in the mini school is to encourage kids to be involved in something outside of the academic realm. Yes, we appreciate students who want to do things academically, but we are also trying to build an entire child with interests as well as their social abilities, and this certainly supports that goal. All right, well, this is not happening this year, but it is something that we do on a yearly basis. So everything that happens at mini camp and the things that we're not able to do because we are not attending camp in the foreseeable future, we will be incorporating that with mini council. And again, one of the things that I would stress that we focus on are things like team building and the multi-grade connections that happen. The idea is that when kids graduate from our program, that they will know kids 4 years older than them, and then when they get to grade 12, they will know kids 4 years younger than them, and that creates a network, and we're hoping that that network will foster some professional opportunities for them once they graduate, and hopefully they'll come back as Tupper alumni and mentors. Within the mini school and Tupper community in general, the expectation is our shared values called ROARs. With COVID, we've now, obviously the last point, safety, has been amplified, and I'm very proud to say that we've done an amazing job with kids and staff, and the ROARs code of conduct or shared values is something that Tupper is well known for, and I will leave that one there. But it's important to understand that we are, all of us, all about ROARs at Tupper from grade 8 to grade 12. Okay, so the most important thing that we want to talk about now is how to apply to the Tupper Mini. Your application and the quality of your application, what it looks like, what it contains, how well it's organized, is equally, if not more important, than your report card. So what we are expecting to see is you're following all the guidelines on the application. I will be going over that right now. So the first thing you're going to see on your application is we're going to ask you the first question, which is getting to know you. So you're going to be able to, at that time, tell us all the things that you're involved in, things that you're interested in, and so forth. So again, spend time writing as much as you can in that section. The second question that we're going to be asking you are, what are some of your personal and social skills or strengths? I would say that this is the thing that you are providing to Tupper. So what we're really asking for in that part is, what are you bringing to Tupper that the students in your cohort will gain? And we've given you, there's some examples up there. We've created a Charlie the Tiger application where you can look at what Charlie will provide to the Tupper Mini School based on his skills. The next question that we ask you on the application is, what are some of your personal, social, skill-related areas where you would like to experience growth? That's an opportunity for you to let us know what you expect to get from us. Once you become a Tupper Tiger and you're in the Tupper Mini School program, what are you hoping that we're going to be providing to you? These are very helpful things for us when we're looking at your applications to see where the fit is for individual students. The other question, the next question that we ask on the application is, explain why you are choosing Tupper Mini School. And with regard to that, we are looking for, again, sort of your long term. What is it that you expect to gain from the Tupper Mini School in general? And what is it that you think you're going to be able to contribute to the Tupper community? We consider this relationship a two-way street, and we expect that kids will not only gain, but kids will have something to offer. If all you're looking for is an opportunity to accelerate through your courses, graduate early, and go to university, this may not necessarily be the ideal situation for you. We're looking for enrichment, we're looking for relationships. We want kids that are engaged and engaging. And I think that answers sort of what we're looking for in that section. And then the other question that we ask is, what is or are your goals? And I think that then we're looking at maybe three areas. One is personal and social. Another one is academic. And the last one might be professional. What are you hoping to do once you graduate? And we have counselors and your parents and teachers that can help you to sort of figure out those questions. And those are questions and answers that keep changing over the 5 years of high school and oftentimes throughout our lives. But at least we can have an idea of how we can support individual students in that regard. Anything else that you wanted to fit in there is also important, and we have an others section. So I am interested in, what kind of volunteer work are you involved in? Other things like music and sports and clubs, etc., and anything else that can help us to get to know who you are. You can talk to your parents about that and so forth. The one thing that's not up here that I would love for you guys to be able to look at and consider is a reference letter or even reference letters. But that does not include reference letters from your teacher or teaching staff or staff at the school. We're looking for something that shows a complete picture of who you are. I get everything I need from your report card, from your scores, as well as teacher comments. What I'm interested in is reference letters that help us to see who you are outside of the school community, or maybe even as an extension of the school community. That is, I think that is all that we have here. The only thing, the last thing that I might recommend to you is you please take a look at what the counselors say, have a look at what the individual teachers say about their courses as well. And if you have any questions, please go to our website. And there's a section there with Q&A, and we also have students diligently working to get back to you as soon as possible with any questions that you may have, and to make this process as seamless as possible. I wish you all the best of luck in your applications, and make sure you do a great job with your application. I hope to see you guys soon, probably on a screen, as we work on what the final details will be for our interview process. Thank you.
Hello, mini school applicants. My name is Wendy Higginbottom, and I'm one of the counselors at Tupper Secondary. I also help run the Link Crew program that helps support grade 8s as they come into Tupper. And I want to introduce my fabulous colleague, Mr. Joe Lee, and I also want to give him a shout out because he is our provincial award rugby championship coach at Tupper. And he's really awesome. He coaches grade 8 rugby as well as senior rugby. Just wanted to give Joe a shout out for that.
Okay, we'll start over here. We're going to start with just the basics. Now, for any parents that, or students that might have an older brother, older sibling that has already been through high school, please bear with me. For anyone that this is their, maybe their only child or their oldest child, let's just give a basic run through of what high school looks like. So on any regular year, you're going to have 8 courses. It's going to be the standard timetable. And they're broken down into a day 1 and day 2 schedule. So you'll have 4 classes one day, 4 classes the other day. And then the classes each day are numbered 1 through 4. So on day 1, you're going to get classes 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, and then the same thing with day 2. Now that's 8 different classes for your child or children to go to. Okay, so for grade 8, the classes are pretty standard. Okay, Ms. Higginbottom?
Yeah, it's a pretty standard menu we offer at Tupper for grade 8s. And it's also pretty similar for the mini school program for grade 8s. For the grade 8 schedule, you get an English 8, a social studies 8. We call that humanities. It's usually the same teacher. We have a science 8, a math 8, a PE 8, which is co-ed. And then you have your fine arts rotation, which is a sampling of 4 fine arts courses: dance, music, art, and drama. And we also have an applied skills rotation with it, which is a sampling of 4 different skills classes, usually business, foods, textiles, and woodworking. Some students will opt to take a beginner band instead of the fine arts rotation, and if that works with their schedule, we're able to do that. And also there is a French 8, and some students coming in with learning needs might do what's called the skills block instead of the French 8. For the mini school students, you're going to have your mini humanities, which is mini English, mini social studies. Usually you have that with Mr. Iameo himself. Science 8 and mini math 9, which you're getting a combo of 8 and 9 math in 1 year. You have your PE 8, and just like the regular rotation, you're going to have a fine arts rotation, an applied skills rotation, and a French 8. Or you can try to have the beginner band if it works with your schedule. All right.
Now, one of the biggest questions that you'll have for grade 8 mini school students is, my schedule has an issue with it. Now, what we're seeing is, in any regular course, well, I should just go with this. There is 1 section of every mini course. So there's only 1 block of English, mini English 8, or 1 block of mini socials 8, and same with the science and the math. In a regular grade 8 timetable, there can be an option of up to 6 different sections that we can go through. Where this comes into play is if we need to have things like an advanced French or a different band for a mini school student, it is very difficult to move anything because there is only one option for their English, their social studies, their science, and their math. And even though there is more options for PE, because you have all of these courses where they can only go into one spot in the timetable, it often makes it so that PE can only go into one spot, or that the applied skills rotation can only go into one spot. The grade 8 and 9 mini schedule is very, what we call, locked in, because there isn't multiple sections of each course. Also, the other thing is, even though it's a non-mini course like PE8, every subject is not offered in every block. So if I needed to move someone's PE class to accommodate a French, an advanced French, doesn't mean it's available in every class. And this is what happens with the mini 8 and 9 timetables. They are very constrained.
Yeah, it's just to manage people's expectations around scheduling, because it isn't possible for us to always accommodate different language levels when it comes to French. We can always accommodate, if you're in the mini program, you'll always be able to get your core courses, but it is challenging for us to accommodate various French levels. So where we run into hiccups often is if you're coming from a French immersion program, and sometimes if you're coming from an intensive French program, it can be difficult for us to be able to get to that French level when you come into Tupper in grade 8.
And then going forward, one of the things that we can use to help with the timetable, which is an option, is if your French that you're advanced in, or your band, or maybe it's a math that you're advanced in, does not work with your timetable at Tupper, we can use online courses through Vancouver Learning Network, where it will be available to work with your schedule. So chances are, if you're going to go into the mini program, there's a possibility that at some point through grade 8 through 12, there will be a course that you want for yourself or your children, but it won't work with the timetable in a given year. That's when we use the online format for things like advanced math or French, or maybe even a language or something like that.
That can also be a problem, and we really want to manage your expectations early on. In the later grades, when you have advanced in the sciences, sometimes you'll be a grade 10 level mini student, and you'll maybe want to do biology 11, chemistry 11, and physics 11. And that can run into some hiccups, because there will be grade 12 students in the school who also really need to pick up those courses for university admission. We at Tupper as a community, we feel that the grade 12 students should have priority for those courses, because it's their last chance to get that, and they're working on those courses for university admissions. And so sometimes as a grade 10 and even as a grade 11 mini school student, you might not get first priority in a science class, even if you have the prerequisite. We just want to make sure that everybody understands that not every year you're going to get exactly what you want when it comes to your timetable. And we will support you through that, but we also need to manage your expectations and people to be a bit more flexible with that. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. We're here to help. We welcome you to Tupper community.
Hi, my name is Anna, and I'm a grade 10 student. I went to L'école Bilingue before coming to Tupper, so I'm going to be talking about what to expect coming from a French school. So the first thing that will happen is a placement test. That will happen this April, probably. It usually happens in April. We don't really know what will happen with COVID, but that's the expectation. And you can ask the office for that information, or your teachers at your school will probably give you that information. But basically, the placement test, there's a written portion and there's an oral portion. It's not too difficult, and it's basically just an assessment of your level of French. So once you're placed in a French class, you'll probably be placed in about 9 to 11 in either grade 9, 10, or 11 French, but it's definitely not a guarantee that you'll get the level that you necessarily are, because we do prioritize the students who are in that grade. So there's also an online option. If you don't like where you're placed in your French level, you think that it's either too easy, too hard, whatever, you can also try doing it online. Or there's also a challenge exam that you can take, which basically it's a district-wide, and it's like 6 hours out in Delta. But after you take the challenge exam, if you pass, you basically never have to do French again. Yeah, so, and then finally I'll be talking about what the transition's like coming from a French school. So I know a lot of people are worried about, especially for like immersion and francophone students, they're worried about having taken certain subjects in French and then taking them in English here at Tupper. So, for example, science and social studies, or sciences humaines, are in French, but honestly, if you come to Tupper, you figure out that it's very easy to make the transition. A lot of the words are very similar, and especially in social studies, there's nothing really that you need to worry about there. So, yeah.
Science! Welcome to Tupper. I'm Mr. Hultquist, and I'm one of the many science teachers that we have here at Tupper. I teach a lot of the mini science classes, and we do all kinds of science. The main thing is we try to do some fun, hands-on things. We're going to study 4 different subjects. We're going to study biology. We'll learn how to use microscopes. We're going to look at plant cells. We're going to look at animal cells, and talk about reproduction, always a favorite. We're going to do some chemistry, like we'll blow things up every once in a while, but we'll also be doing things like diffusion. We have lots of chemicals here. We'll work with some hydrochloric acid, some metals. We'll learn about the periodic table. We're going to do some physics. We might learn a little bit about cars as they roll down ramps, and we'll look at light and how light travels through different kinds of objects. And then we're also going to do earth science, and we'll learn about structures and how they hold up to earthquakes. The main thing that we're going to do in science to tie it all together is learn scientific investigations, how to conduct one, how to ask a question, and ultimately how to answer that question by collecting evidence using the tools that we learn in science class. And students who really are keen to do scientific investigations can do the science fair. So science fair is a great opportunity for students to show what they know, to learn with a mentor, and to kind of broaden their horizons beyond the school itself. That's it. Welcome to Tupper Science.
Hi everyone, I'm Miss Wong, and I am the math teacher here at Tupper. I've been teaching at Tupper for about over 15 years now, so it's been a while and we really, really like it here. I'm also currently the math department head, as well as I teach the minis for the first few years of their math courses here. I find that being able to teach them for the first few years gives them some stability and some continuity, so they are able to sort of follow the same teacher. It also gives me some time to sort of work around things if I need to sort of adjust the curriculum and add on things as we need. So for the math curriculum here for the mini program, it's basically an accelerated program. The first year is usually the biggest change or the biggest adjustment. For the grade 8 year, we do the math 8 and the math 9 together. So we accelerate them through that first year, and then the following year they are basically moving 1 year ahead of their grade level. So when they're in grade 9, they'll basically be doing their math 10. The biggest challenge I find for many students for their first year is just adjusting to the workload. So if you haven't been used to doing practice or homework at home or preparing for tests, you're going to find that a bit of a challenge. But we're more than happy to help you out with it and make sure you're adjusting well, and then talk to you about different options if you really find it's challenging and you need to have other things to sort of help you out. Otherwise, the program's really a lot of fun, and I enjoy working with the mini students for their first few years. And that's everything. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions about the math area. Thanks.
Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer Braun, Miss Braun. I teach mini school English, and I'm the department head of English. I teach this year the grade 10s and the grade 12s. I also teach creative writing as an elective class. It's one of my big passions and something I try to incorporate in all of my English classes in the mini school. To sum up, English here at Tupper is enriched. So we do go at a fast pace and we read some pretty challenging materials, but I like to take an enriched approach. So what that looks like is creative projects, and whether it's a video, whether it's a poster project, whether it's creative writing. So, and lots of discussions. I'm trying new things all the time in terms of technology. I just had my first online literature circles and teams. But basically, English here at Tupper is, we like to make connections with other courses and the real world. A couple of things we're doing right now in my grade 10s, we've just gone over books, Ready Player One, The Hate You Give, Lion. So basically, obviously doing all the normal things of essay writing and all of that. I try to do mix a balance of academic rigor, preparing you for high school and beyond, obviously, post-secondary, but also having some fun and allowing us a chance to develop our creative thinking as well. So that is a short summary of what we do here in the English department here at Tupper.
Hi, my name is Mclean. I'm the Social Studies 10 teacher here in the mini school. The main thing to know about Social Studies 10 is that it's mostly a history course, and it tells the story of Canada through the 20th century. So there are lots of topics that come up, obviously the World Wars and the Cold War and Canada's role in those events. And we work with lots and lots of different skills and ideas, most of them around literacy, reading and writing, and then the ideas, of course, are the big, broad ideas that shaped the 20th century. Things like what is fascism, what is communism, who thought those things were important. And then I usually do call people's attention to the curriculum, which is found online. This document's fairly easy to find, and for people who want more information, they can go to the BC curriculum. But in general, I just wanted to welcome students to Tupper and say that I'm excited to work with you when you come into Social Studies 10. So please don't be shy if you have any questions.
Hi, I'm Mr. Demers, and I do teach in the mini program in the English end of things. I have taught 10 a few times, but mostly I teach English 11. And this year we're going to be doing a new book, Indian Horse by Richard Wagamis. We might go and do Jade Peony, the traditional book I use for this course. Because the course is quite so short this year, I might change things a little bit. You'll also be exposed to some graphic novels, some old films, a whole bunch of poetry and literature. It should be a wonderful year. Oh, and we'll throw in, of course, Macbeth, because who doesn't need a dark nightmare in December?
Thank you for watching that video. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at tuppermini@gmail.com. Again, tuppermini@gmail.com. Thanks so much, and we look forward to seeing some of you soon.